Okay, I did it all at once. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to January 24th, the last full week of the first month of the year. All right, I hope you guys are all following your business plans, doing what you're supposed to be doing. You know, this is the week where you get tested, I believe, because you have new habits, new disciplines, new plans, and this is the week where it really is hard to keep doing it because you haven't quite created the habit yet, but it's right within reach as long as you keep going. All right, so speaking of habits and disciplines, today we are very fortunate from our Summerlin office to have Mr. John Mcnamera Jr. John, if you could hit *6 on your phone, then we can hear you. *6, please.
All right, good morning. Thanks for having me
on.
There he is.
Hey, well, thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, it's a pleasure to have you here today, my man. So tell us a little about yourself, how long you've been doing this, all that good stuff, please.
Yes, sir. I've been in the real estate business for over 17 years. Actually, originally started in upstate New York. I worked for my parents' company, John and Elizabeth McNamara, and Coldwell Banker. Was in Albany, New York. Back in 2005. I originally got into real estate. I was right out of college, actually. I went to a Mike Ferry retreat. It was like a mini retreat, actually, in Albany, New York. And I saw these folks that were prospecting in the mornings, going on appointments, and it's like, man, that sounds like that would be fun and exciting. So got into real estate business. I was in New York for, probably about 3.5 years. Had probably pretty good early success. Did about 24 deals my first year. Second year was 40 deals. And then, again, I went to another Mike Fair retreat. I'm sure you remember, Rick. It was Superstar Retreat in Las Vegas. And I fell in love with the city of Las Vegas, and I ended up moving out here. So that's kind of how it all started, and I've been loving this town ever since. So.
Yeah, and you even live downtown now in that lovely, you live in one of those high-rises, which is great, beautiful views. I love those.
Yeah, it's been good. I've been there, just about since April. So my girlfriend just actually moved in this weekend. So we've been,
nice.
Been enjoying it. Yeah, yes, sir. Growing up, slowly but surely.
Yeah, well, you started selling real estate probably about, 22? 22?
Yeah, I was right out of college.
Yeah.
So fell in love with it, though. I'm still enjoying it. I got really lucky. When I first got it, I got right into coaching. Bill Pipes was my coach for about 3 years, and Ira was my coach for a year. So I got really lucky. I had like two of the best coaches at the time, and yeah, I mean it's been a good ride. Then when I moved out to Las Vegas, it was so I was really smart. I moved to Vegas in 2008 when the market was crashing, and to give you an idea, I'm sure you remember, but when I came here, there was 36,000 homes for sale, and we were depreciating 3% a month. And talk about, I really appreciate this type of market versus that market. But I remember going through it. I'm like, man, if I can get through this, I can get through anything. So I'm so grateful for that opportunity. And probably about 18 months out here, I had like 45 short sales. Had no idea what the heck I was doing. My poor assistant at the time. But it was totally different than upstate New York. But it's been a good ride. So.
Yeah. And just so everybody knows, I worked with Mike for a few years. I think a lot of people know that. And I actually worked with John and Elizabeth. John was the manager of the coaching department, and my nickname for his mother is the Awesomest. and Amanda's on this call too, John, so she remembers that.
Cool.
I had a nickname for everybody in there. Some I can repeat, some I cannot. But I worked with Mike for years doing those events, and I absolutely, it's a dynamite system. And you're a perfect example of you come out, you follow it. You use the word lucky a few times. I would replace lucky with you got it immediately, and you got right into the groove of doing it. That's why I was so excited when you decided to move over here. A little over a year ago now you've been in the Summerlin office, right?
Yeah, it's been a wild ride, man. I appreciate you being patient with me to finally get on one of these calls. Yeah, when we moved over, yeah, it's going to be a year, February 8th, I believe. Um,
Hmm.
so that was a big move. I'm grateful for it because I just kind of felt, and I really enjoyed the last company I worked for, and I really appreciate the relationships I had over there. But I felt it was a little bit better of a culture fit for us because clearly growing up in the Mike Ferry system and my parents' company, this company, Berkshire, kind of mirrored that in a lot of ways, which I really appreciated. And you were a big part of that too, knowing that
Well,
we could
thank
get
you.
somebody with a lot of Mike Ferry experience and could coach us. And because the
Yeah.
goal for me here in the future is to continue building a team. This year was more about building the systems, the brand, the marketing, getting that all aligned, so we could start recruiting here in the future. But it was a wild ride when we first moved over here. We literally, I think we had like 15 like sold and pending. I don't know how many active at the time, but we literally went to massive momentum as soon as we hit Berkshire. So it was an
You sure did.
interesting transition to go through that. And you forget, when you move companies, because I was originally actually here when it was Prudential. I actually had a really good experience here previously, and the only reason I left was, to be honest with you, is because my parents became partners over at Keller, and
Right.
so I was there for about 6 years. Had a good experience over there, but yeah, so yeah, I'm glad to be back. The team we're joined over here. We really appreciate the leadership over here. So far, it's been a really good experience.
Yeah, and that's no, really appreciate it too. And it's not just so everybody knows I coach John and his team, so it's great working with them, and we do. We're all on the same page. Why don't you give an idea, just so they get an idea, John? Give them an idea of what you do on a daily basis and what your crew does and how many you have. Just give them a little idea of your team and what daily actions are that they all submit to and do every day, which I think is great.
Okay, so the team or me personally?
But both, yeah. Start with you and then do them
Both.
too.
Okay. So me personally, my schedule looks like I get up in the morning. Like this morning, I got up at 5:30, went to the gym. I usually do my morning runs, which is good, on the treadmill. Just get that blood flowing. Do my meditation. I hit the role play at 7:30. I role played with Jamal today. Kicked my butt as always. I really appreciate that guy. He's great at scripts. But
Really is.
I definitely recommend the role plays in the morning. It just keeps you accountable to getting in the office early and on time. Because to be honest with you, last year I was probably getting in around 8:40, give or take, every single day. So this year I incorporated getting back into my role plays and getting here in the office at 8 o'clock to have more time. So hit the phones. Probably I'm on the phones between 8:15 to 10 o'clock. Or as a team, everybody hits 30 contacts, then we go on appointments in the afternoon, do coaching with the team at 11:30 to 12, and then if we don't have appointments, we're typically working on systems or anything else here in the office that we need to get done. So that's what a typical day looks like for us and the team. So.
Right. And your goal this year for you and the team?
The goal this year for us and the team is 80 deals, 30 million. Last year we did 60 deals, and it was 20 million. So.
Awesome. Just so they get an idea of what you're talking about for following a schedule like that. And, he's got Rodrigo's on there, George is on there, he's got his assistant on there and himself on there, and they're just cranking it out every single day. That's everybody on the team right now, right? Pretty much?
Yeah, so 14 members. Yeah, very lucky. We have one thing we focused on this year was building our culture as a team. And, yeah, there's Crystal, who does our transactions and works on systems for us, does an awesome job. George, who's phenomenal at marketing and scheduling and working on our systems, really working on one thing we worked on this year was our CRM system and kind of getting more tech savvy as a team. And he's really taken on that role, the leadership role of moving us forward in that direction, which has been incredibly helpful for us. Grateful for him. And also, yeah, Rodrigo, awesome salesperson. One thing I love about him is just the guy is just always super positive. So we have a really good core four here. I'm grateful for all of them, and we want to keep building that. So
that is great. No, it's such a great,
yeah.
and they all they all do their commitments. We run through, do commitments, and then, I do actuals for the last 2 weeks, then commitments, and they all take accountability for what they did, what they didn't do. It's absolutely fabulous to have, it's obviously a testament to your leadership because they're following you because you're doing it. It's like when I ran my little team, they would do anything I would do. It was just tough to get them to do things that I wasn't willing to do. So it's a lot easier when you're a power of example than it is to, hey, do as I say, not as I do. So that's one of the main reasons is you're leading by example, and they're just following along and doing great. And you guys have a tremendous social media goal, your prospecting goal, you have a tremendous exposure goal as well. And then you're doing some personal growth right now yourself too, aren't you?
Yes, sir. This year has been more about, personal growth for me. I think in 17 years, it's always been production over everything else, and I've kind of made a shift where to focus more on growth with myself. So this year has been a good start. I stopped. I haven't been drinking alcohol for 2 weeks now, and caffeine's been about a week, but it's been good. Reading every day, meditation, running in the morning. So just getting back to the basics, really. And as a team, we read Miracle Morning. As a team, that's another thing that we do as a team. We read together. And we read about a chapter for whatever book that we're reading at the time. But we read Miracle Morning, and that was perfect segue going into this year and adapting that to my schedule. It's been I've seen the benefits of it already, just getting into the office 40 minutes early. So, and I appreciate the team because the team and I appreciate you saying leadership. The team has taken on leadership roles as too, which has been incredibly helpful for me. I've just seen everybody across the board step it up, and I really appreciate it. So I got great people that I'm working with, and I'm just it's nice for so long. I started a team about 5 years ago, and you know this, Rick, but it's lonely, like doing it on your own. And I did it for so long by myself, and then 5 years ago, I decided to start a team, and man, I've grown a lot from that. I've had half the team leave and then come back, and then half the team leave again, then come back. So it's just continuing to learn to be a better leader, and you have more accountability as well, right? You have to show up every single day, no matter what. So the team's been phenomenal for me, and we had just in the beginning of this year, we had a couple team members sick, went on vacation, and there was a couple of weeks, so I'm by myself, and I'm like, man, I miss everybody. So I'm grateful for them because they've made me better. So.
Yeah, you had a couple of people go out of the country, and it was great, though, because it's great when you have team members that can do things like that, too, because one of them, and I love the journey that I believe it's George. No, is it? Yeah, it's George, right? He sold his car, bought the house. He's going through everything he needs to do to buy his first property, which is absolutely fabulous.
That's Rodrigo. He's going through that right now.
Rodrigo,
so,
sorry.
No worries. I'm excited for Rodrigo. He's accomplishing some big goals already in the beginning of the year, so he deserves it all.
Yeah, and I remember what it was like to buy my first house. I remember what it was like. It was
it's scary, man.
Yeah, and the fact that they're making calls, they're following the system. It's a great thing. And, it's like I said, it's a testament to you. All right. So now let's do this. And my favorite question to ask when I interview people like yourself is, okay, so now 17 years of experience, made mistakes, had a lot of wins. What would be the three most important pieces of advice you'd tell them to focus on?
That's a great question. I think the first thing is, the one thing I know I definitely did right in the beginning when I got into the business was focus on your sales skills. If you don't know how to sell, if you don't know how to get listings signed or buyers under contract, you're sunk in the water. It doesn't matter what your marketing or your systems or anything. What I would and at least I say this to newer agents, and even if you've been in the you're a veteran agent, you know, even I'm 17 years later, I'm working on my sales skills again. You know, we can always get better. But especially if you're new, I would take the first 18, 24 months, be all in on scripts and sales skills, so you can develop that. Because and you know this, it takes 6 months to be like okay at it, a year to be good at it, 18 months to be great at it. And I was really lucky because my parents were coaches, and literally, God bless my mom, Elizabeth. I would literally every single day role play with her until I found other top producers. Then I got into Mike Ferry, and I got top producing other role play partners across the country, which is amazing, and being part of that ecosystem. But God bless her, for the first 6 months, I was role playing expired FISBO, listing presentation with her. Like, I was all about it. So, yeah. So the first thing is, if you're new, be all in on skills, and then even if you're a vet, sharpen that. You know, sharpen your tools, if that makes sense.
No,
that can make a big difference.
Jamal runs a success center. You're going to close, 80 or more, and you guys are role playing a few times a week together. Plus, I know you role play pretty much every day. And people go, well, and I love that Mike Ferry example. Major League Baseball players take batting practice before every game. Basketball players shoot around for like a half an hour before every game. So, you're never above mastering the basics, right?
No, absolutely, and I'm learning a lot from Jamal. So I'm great. Like, even today we role played, and he had an awesome close about interest rates. I'm like, man, I'm stealing that. So I'm grateful for him.
Good.
And you're absolutely right. Like, I don't know if you watched football this weekend, but even like the game last night, the Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes, and they're just going at it left, right, touchdown. But at the end of the day, Mahomes got it done, and they're both phenomenal, but Mahomes' skills are just a little bit better. So it can make all that difference in the world at the end of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I was rooting for the Bills too, just because Kansas City's been there. Even though the Bills took out my Patriots. All right, actually, you're a Patriots fan too, from where you are. So it was good to see. I would have liked to see Buffalo go ahead, but Kansas City is just a great team. They both are.
They are. I was rooting for the Bills too, man. I don't know if I told you this ever, but so I grew up being a Patriots fan, but the Patriots, so when I lived in upstate New York right out of college, the Patriots, well, you know this, the Patriots are like sold out for the next 20 years. You have to go like on a waiting list. And I've just been like a huge like football fan my entire life, played it, love it. And I had season tickets for the Bills. And so I used to I used to travel 6 hours every Sunday to go watch the Buffalo Bills play. So I'm a Patriots fan at heart, but I've always kind of rooted for the Bills just because it would have been great for that city, because that city's kind of I haven't been there in 12 years, but that city was kind of rough back in the day. So
my God,
hopefully it's getting
Bill's
better.
Mafia.
But I don't know.
That's
Bill's Mafia, throwing people through tables.
Oh yeah, that's nuts. I love it. All right, so we got sales skills is number 1, which I think is awesome. What about number 2?
Number 2, like we kind of already talked about, is stick to your schedule. Your schedule is everything. Mike, that's always the biggest aha. Every retreat or production retreat that Mike holds, it always comes back to schedule. You can always get better at your schedule. So I would really focus in on that, because, get better per hour, per minute, per second, because your greatest asset is your time in real estate. So be fanatical with your schedule. I'm grateful because George on our team is great at scheduling, and he's kept me incredibly accountable with it and got me better with my schedules. So, schedule is super important. My dad would always talk about that too. He would talk about folks getting into real estate and say, hey, people go into real estate because they want all this freedom, right? And then the realization is the freedom is actually in the scheduling. So that is always something that stuck with me, that my dad's always talked about over the years. So, schedule is huge.
Yeah, I used to jokingly tell the new people, they'd say, I'm going into real estate to pick my own hours. I go, great. Tell me which 60 a week you're going to pick.
Yeah, exactly, right.
your first 2 years anyway, if you really want to come out of the gates hot. Like, you know, it's funny, you said 24 your first year and 40. I did 17 and then 23 my second year. Then I did 30-something, then 50-something. And that's back when, I mean, I didn't meet Mike till 1990, and I was selling real estate since 85. Yeah, I was the first prospector in my area, dude. You can imagine that, being from New England. First, I mean, I was like Satan. That's how the people from other offices, even people in my own office, because nobody was prospecting. Anyway,
wow. You're the GOAT, man. You're the original.
The GOAT.
That's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool story. I didn't know that. And to be honest with you, I give you a lot of credit because, gosh, I probably would have sold one house if I didn't know about Mike Ferry, to be honest with you. So that's incredibly impressive.
Well, and I was one of the first people in my area to call expired listings. I got called in front of my MLS board for calling expired listings because no one ever done it before. There was absolutely nothing wrong with it, but other agents were convinced it was unethical.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? I let a listing expire, ruin the seller's plans, and you're unethical for calling them and trying to fix that problem? That's what I told the board when I went in front of them. They're like, yep, you're right, okay. But they have to investigate every complaint. Anyway.
I actually brought up a memory. So when I first got into real estate, I got really lucky because Brian McQueen, he was Rookie of the Year when I entered. The guy probably does like over 100 deals. He's still a year, and he's in upstate New York. But he was kind of one of my mentors when I first got into it. And I literally like latched onto him like, hey, man, can I just listen to you and like do whatever you do? And he had like the double headsets. I thought it was like super cool because he was crushing it. So I actually just did what he did, and we would prospect every day together. And I think it was about a year into the business. Him and I had about like 24 complaints, and we had like all these fines, and the company ended up taking care of it. But we kind of ran into the same issue as well. So
nuts, right? You want to work
just for making calls. I mean, we weren't doing anything unethical, you know, but we were like bulldogs over the phone. And then I kind of realized, okay, I don't have to close somebody 12 times until they give me the appointment. I can kind of, you know, so that was good for me too. But yeah.
Yeah. I eventually went out on my own. The only reason I started my own company is because I was number one in my office. The office I was with, we were number one, and I was 35% of the office, which was about 40 people. And the broker came to me one day and asked me to stop making just listed, just sold calls. I understand the expireds and the FISBOs, but stop calling around your listings and sales because you're calling in other people's farms.
Yep. It's crazy.
And I go, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it easy on you. I'm going to leave. And we agreed. It was empty. It was amicable. But anyway, okay. So what's number 3 on our list?
Yeah. That kind of reminded me of a story too. It was I won't name the company, but when I first moved to Las Vegas, in the first 18 months, I was like the number one agent over at this other company, and the owner literally walked into my office and said, "Hey, you don't go to our sales meetings," and was mad at me. And I said, "Hey, man, it's during prospecting time. If you change it, then you know, I'll go to your." And he was furious with me. And I'm thinking like, I'm literally the number one agent in this office right now. It was, you know, the thought process is interesting sometimes in real estate. But
yeah.
Number 3. So go all into what makes sense to you. I guess what I mean by that is, you know, it doesn't have to be Mike Ferry or prospecting. Mike Ferry just made a lot of sense to me in terms of efficiency and selling and hitting the phones because I'm big on time. Wasting my time is a huge pet peeve of mine. So that's why I've always liked Mike. But I understand too that it's not going to make sense to everybody, right? There's a lot of great coaches out there. There's Tom, there's Maps Coaching. There's a lot of great lead sources you can be great at, social media, open houses, whatever it is. Whatever makes sense to you at the end of the day, I would say just go all in and burn the bridges down. Don't look back and just go all in on it and give it 18 to 24 months and be okay with that. because I just see too many people.
I like it.
Yeah. I see too many people, especially a lot of new agents when we're interviewing, right? Well, I have this idea and this idea and this idea, and they have 1,000 different ideas that they want to do. And of course, they're, you know, if you do that, you're not going to accomplish anything at the end of the day. Just focus on one thing that you're going to be great at, because you got to get in that momentum with your business. Because if you don't have money, you're going to be out of business. I mean, that's why 87% of people are out of the business in the first 2 years. It's because they're not making money, you know. So figure out how to make money first, double down on whatever makes sense to you, copy, and just figure out who's the best at that. Copy exactly what they do. Don't try to figure it. Then you can have fun with it and have different pillars and do your own thing later on. I'm not saying don't, you know, think big and you do other things later on, but start making money, you know, because so many people are just dead out of the water. Unfortunately, they're out of the business, and there's so many talented people, and I think that's one of the reasons I started a team, was to coach agents, because there's just so many talented people that get out of the business if they just had a little bit more direction. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot of great training out there in real estate unless you go out and you look for it. So, because you know, but
I agree,
that's it. So, yeah,
that's awesome.
Cool.
All right, my man, we're right in time too, so perfect segue right into it. Any final words you want to leave these lovely people?
That's it. You guys have a great 2022. I really appreciate the opportunity, and have a great day.
All right, John. Thank you very much, my man. We'll talk soon. Everybody else, we'll do this again in a week. Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
You got it. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.